or his devotees. That's what we do. And there is a lot of behind the scene benefit to us. Spiritual benefit, we call it, Because we have now, once we know, now we have started our thing that, okay, how much spiritual asset I can collect. Because material asset we already have. But see, material asset you cannot collect. It's given to you by your karmic activity before. Bhagya, we call it, providence. By that only you can have the material asset. But the spiritual asset you have to collect. You have to desire for it, and you have to strive for it. For that we call it the purushas. That's the real purusha. That's what it is. So we have to do that. We have to strive very hard to collect that spiritual asset. And that's what we are trying to do as much as we can. And the beauty of it is to collecting the spiritual asset is that 1 minus 1 is still 1. It can never be lost. It will be in your bank account forever, and it cannot be lost. Even if you go into another body and come back again, any other, they'll be with you and you start again from there. Suchinam Srimantam Gehe Yoga Bhrashta Vijay. It says, if you, Arjuna asked Lord Krishna, now what happened to those who could not finish their spiritual spiritual advancement or spiritual assets or spiritual, what they collected, what happened, and if they couldn't finish it, what happened to them? Then Lord Krishna says that Suchinam Srimantam Gehe Yoga Bhrashta Vijayate. So if you cannot finish it, we don't need to worry because it's come with you and you can be given more and better, ground to cultivate it further from there. That's the beauty of spiritual assets,
Yeah, that's the only
Right. So anyway, so we will go there too. We will also chat with them, and we are given the opportunity to set up a booth over there, so we can distribute prasadam, over there. So we go and we make it and we feed everybody. Because by feeding the prasadam also, you are again trying to, attract them to Krishna and Krishna consciousness. So that's what we'll do. So you come along there, all of you. So those are the two things we had, and then we will read a little bit of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we continue with our Srimad Bhagavatam with Prahlad Maharaj. It's a teaching, a transcendental teaching of Prahlad Maharaj. That's what we talk every Saturday, right? And then tomorrow we have big festival, and Governor Raj Prabhu will say that, Prabhuji, can I speak about Ram tomorrow? So I said, yeah, you come on. So he's preparing for Ram Katha tomorrow. So we'll hear him tomorrow. So up till now, we have learned from Prahlad Maharaj, who is teaching, his classmates, his little classmates, and then during the recess time, he's teaching them, that what a man should do in his life, right? That's what he's teaching. And when he's teaching that, we have learned last time in a couple of slokas, we have done it for last 2 weeks, but we have learned that out of 100 years given to the humans, 50% of it goes into sleep and other activities. Like when we are young, about 20 years we don't do anything, sporting, playing around, that's what we do, right? Another 20 years at the back, right? At the like 80 to 100, suppose if somebody lives 100, 80 to 100, we can't do much because we are losing everything. Memories are lost, our, limbs are not working properly. We want to chant, but we can't chant, because my hand is hurting or something. So much arthritis, something like that. So 40 years is gone, right? So out of that, now left is 60. And out of the 60 years left, 30 years is into sleep, because most of the people, they sleep 12 hours. Those who sleep 8 hours, maybe they have 40 years left. So now we only have 40 years left. And out of that 40 years, some of us work, right? 8 hours a day. So you can think how much time is left for us for Krishna consciousness. Not much. That's what Prahlad Maharaj is teaching his schoolmates, that not much is left. And he's also teaching earlier that Komaram Achret Pragyo Bhagavatam Dharman Bhagavatani, Durlabam Manasam Janma Tadapi Artadam Adruvam. He said, although this is temporary. This body, this janma, this birth of ours is temporary, but it is very very meaningful because to get this human birth is very very precious, right? It's very by so much, so many births we have spent, then we got this human birth. So it's very very important for us. That's why we should learn this from the very beginning of our life, right? So then this we should not waste our time because we only have about 20, 30 years left to really get into Krishna consciousness. That's the reason. And it is guaranteed, Srila Prabhupada says, that if you don't do it, you're going to get another body. Now you don't know. You have no control. You are forced to take another body. Can you imagine? At the time of death, you have no choice. You are forced to take another body. So we are forced into another body. It's simply that we are not seeing this through our right eyes. They call it we are seeing through our this skin, these eyes, not the spiritual eyes. Divya Chaksu, it's called. Transcendental eyes, we don't have it, so we're not seeing it. So we say, yeah, it's not, but it is there. It is there because our saintly Guru Maharaj, our Acharya says that, and the scripture says that. The scriptures, that's what we believe in. So it's there and it's going to. So that's why we have to do it. So now we will go to Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 6, and it's going to be verse number 9. So let's read it. See what Srila Prabhupada explained to us. You can follow me. को गृहेषु पुमान् सक्तम् आत्मनम् अजितेन्द्रियः स्नेह आसेर हृदय बद्धम् उत्साहित विमोचितम् को गृहेषु पुमान् सक्तम् आत्मनम् अजितेन्द्रियः स्नेहः आसेर दृढेर बद्धम् उत्साहित विमोचितम् को गृहेषु पुमान् सक्तम् आत्मानम् अजितेन्द्रियः स्नेहपाशेन दृढैर्बद्धम् उत्साहेन विमोचितम्. One more time. को गृहेषु पुमान् सक्तम् आत्मानम् अजितेन्द्रियः स्नेहपाशेन दृढैर्बद्धम् उत्साहेन विमोचितम्. Word by word translation. Kaha, what? Gruhesu, to household life. Woman, man. Sattam, very much attached. Atmanam, his own self, the soul. Ajit Indriya, who has not conquered the senses. Sneha says, by the ropes of affections. Dradai, very strong. Baddam, bound hand and foot. Utsahir, is able. Vimochitam, to liberate from material bondage. So the translation by what person too attached to household life due to being able to control his senses can liberate himself. An attached householder is bound very strongly by ropes of affection for his family, wife, children, and other relatives. So it's a very, very one. You will listen to this purport, it will tell you that what direction we are going in and what direction Srila Prabhupada explained we should be going for this Shastra, tell us to go. Prahlad Maharaj, his first proposal was Komar Achet Pragyo Dharman Bhagavatam Ki. One who is sufficiently intelligent should use the human form of body from the very beginning of life. In other words, from the tender age of childhood, to practice the activity of devotional service, giving up all other engagement. Dharman Bhagavatam means the religious principle of reviving our relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For this purpose, Krishna personally advises us, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mame Ekam Saranam Raja. Give up all other duties and surrender unto me. While in the material world, we manufacture so many duties in the name of so many isms. But our actual duty is to free ourselves from the cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease. For this purpose, one must first be liberated from material bondage and especially from household life. Household life is actually a kind of license for a materially attached person by which to enjoy sense gratification under regulative principles. Otherwise, there is no need of entering household life. So we'll read part by part, then we'll understand it a little bit better. Otherwise, we won't understand it. So, Om Adhyana Timikanta Siddhana Janasalakya Chaksuranam Militana Tasvai Sigurvina. The Chaitanya Manovistam Sapitam Yana Mudra. Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadanti Swapadavanti Kam. So, let's jump. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate
Om Namo
Vasudevaya.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya. In the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, Vyasdev also said, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. That means I offer my obeisance to Lord Shri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God. Iswara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadi Radhi Govinda Sarva Karana. Everything you see around us is the cause. Everything, anything. Sarva Karakara, he is the cause of everything you see around us. Whatever you feel, whatever you see, Krishna is the supreme. And in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Matta Partaram Nanyat Kinchit Asti Dhananjaya. There is no authority above me. He says that. There is no other scripture can say this. But in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Matta Partaram Nanyat Kinchit Asti Dhananjaya. Dhananjaya means Arjuna. Right? So there is no authority above me, Krishna says. So he's saying that. So in earlier in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the first canto, in the beginning also, Vyasdev also say this. Ete chance Krishna's to Bhagavan Swayam. There are so many incarnation of God. Ete chance kalabha. Because in this in Srimad Bhagavatam, first Vyasdev describe all the incarnations, right? All the incarnations, all 10 of the main ones, right? And then after he said that Krishna to Bhagavan Swayam. After that, because he's describing one of them, Mercy Nara, then Vara Avatar, all these avatars he described. And finally he is saying that Ete Chance Kalapans. These are all your incarnation, answer, all of yours, it comes out of you. And Krishna's to Bhagavan, but the real Bhagavan is Krishna. He's the Adi. And that's why Lord Brahma also in the prayers says that in Brahma Samhita that Iswara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. He is the topmost, So here also we have to learn this, that Krishna also says it. Prahlad Maharaj also says that we should be learning all these things, right? And we are so much attached to our family life, right? We have a wife, we have children, we have our brothers, our sisters, and we can see, right, that we have so much affection for them. and they don't let us go. Later on, Prabhupada explained that we like our wife because wife, somebody very, very sweet, make very, very nice food. We become so much independent on the wife, right? And then we don't want to leave, and she's also keep on pulling us that okay, you stay on this side of the line, don't go on the other side of the line. They say that. They do that all the time. That's why I'm telling him, Vikrami Prabhu, to don't change the color of your clothes, just keep it there. But Krishna says that Devi is a good way, Maya Turatya. Mame Vaya Prapadante, Maya Vaya Tantra. We are so much, we just cannot control. But Srila Prabhupada will explain in the second paragraph that how once you are being trained up when you are little, and then when you become a grihastha, how it's easy for you to control your senses because we cannot control ourselves. We haven't been trained to control our senses. We have been trained to go all the way out, right? They say that go get it, get everything as much as you can. And that's what we are doing. That's what we've been trained. So this training is a reverse process that you control your senses, you regulate your principles, and this is regulatory life you have to live. So why we have to do that? That sometimes we correct question for us. Why I have to control so much? So I was driving and I have one of my friend and he said, I won't go to Las Vegas with you. I said, why? He says, your life is very without much excitement. It's very, very without test. He says that. And he said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to go to temple. And then I'm also going to associate with the devotees. And then I'm going to do the kirtan. He's not interested. He's not interested. He's my best friend, but he's not interested. He said, I said, what are you going to do? He said that I'm going to be captured by the Maya tonight. He's going to go with friends and have all this food and maybe drinking and stuff like that. So at least we are safe. We are with the mercy of Krishna, It's always been said to us that, and taught in this, that only Bhagyavan, Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jiv, Giri Krishna Kripa Paya Bhakti Lata Beach. It's in Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's been taught to us. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, hey Rupa Goswami. He's addressing the Rupa Goswami and says that Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jiv, Giri Krishna Kripa Paya Bhakti Lata Beach. So we are so much blessed. We are very Bhagyavan. That's what we are. Bhagyavan means we are very lucky. We are very lucky that we've been thinking about coming to the temple, And so we should consider that. So here we are being taught to that let the household life go, right? So we have to gradually try to understand that why we have to let it go, Because if we will keep on attaching to it, at the same, there are so many stories about it. And what happened to the person who is so much attached to the household life at the end, If you remember one time that Devanand Prabhu gave one very nice story about the snake. One person, right? Then he becomes snake later on. And even the snake has so much desire. He said that after all my kids here, I take care of them, then I'll go with you. He keep on telling to Narad, right? So with these desires, uncontrollable desires, that we have, which we need to put a break on it, and that we can only do through this knowledge, and by association with the devotees. We can cut down this, in Bhagavad Gita in chapter 15 also, Urdu Moolam Adar Sagam Aswastam Pravanavi. We are into this tree, and to cut down, we need this equipment of knowledge. We can cut it down with, all this attachment. So that's what we have to do. So here again, Srila Prabhupada says that we should live a regulative life. Regulative means control life, Control householder life is the only way. The only reason we have to be a householder is because of to live a control life, and control our senses. That's what he says right here. Because that's the only way we can go back. Otherwise, we're going to rot it again. Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi, we are going to have old age disease and all those. And we are going to. So I think that we should convince our friends. I'm trying to convince my friend too, that something he's doing is no good. Let's see how successful I am. Huh? Yeah. Well, he donated. I said, by donating, you purify your heart. So he donated to me 2 times, sent a check. So I had to give him a little bit of I told him, hey, if your daughter go into medical school, why don't you give me $500? If second one goes to medical school, you give me $500. So when two of them went to, he sent me a check for 500. So I had to give him that little bit of yeah. So anyway, so here also Srila Prabhupada says. So in the second paragraph again, it says that this is what is also I was just talking. He said before entering household life, one should be trained as a brahmachari, just like Vikrami Prabhu, living under the care of a guru, whose place is known as the Gurukula. So Gurukula, I think Prabhupada that's why established the Gurukula for our children, so that they can be trained. You see, so we have a Gurukula in Mayapur, and we have Gurukula in Vrindavan, and I think we have still a Gurukula in Dallas. Yeah, we still have it. Gurukula in Dallas. Huh? Alachua is a big one too, so we do have it there. So Brahmachari Gurukule Vasana Dato Guru Hitam. This is also Srimad Bhagavatam. From the very beginning, the Brahmachari is trained to sacrifice everything for the benefit of Guru. The Brahmachari is advised to go begging alms, door to door, addressing all women as a mother, and whatever he collects goes to the benefit of Guru. In this way, he learns how to control his senses. Because if somebody tells me in this material life that, hey, why don't you go earn and give it to me? Then you kind of think, are you crazy? How am I doing that for you? So here there is a training that we have to do everything for Guru. When he's fully trained, if he likes, he's allowed to marry. See? Thus, he's not an ordinary grahastha who has learned only how to satisfy his senses. A trained grahastha can gradually give up household life and go to the forest to become increasingly enlightened in spiritual life and at last take sannyas. Prahlad Maharaj explained to his father that to be free from all the material anxieties, we studied this earlier, right? One should go to the forest. Hitva patam gruham andakupam. So the only reason we have anxiety is because we are into this household life, and that's the reason we have anxiety all the time. We are trying to secure ourselves, that oh, nothing happens to me, nothing happens to my children, nothing happens to my friends, nothing happens. This is because we want security. That's anxiety. So that's why he says that you should. This material life is called andakupa. Andakupa means dark well. There is no water in it, just the dark well. And then because it is dark well, we are being advised to get out of this dark well, towards the light. So we should leave this household life and become more and more engaged into the temple life or association, teaching Krishna consciousness, and then all the activity of devotional service. That's what it says for us to do. So here Prahlad Maharaj also advised his father, and this was in the beginning we studied, Hitva Atmapatam Gram Andakupa. So he should quit his Andakupa and go to forest. One should give up his household, which is a place for going further and further down into the darkest region of the material existence. So if we don't quit this material existence, we'll be going down, not up, right? So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains that Urdhvam Gachanti Sattvastha, Madhyati Stuti Rajasa, and Adho Gachanti Tamasa. So we have to stay into the mode of goodness, then we will be able to go up. Otherwise, Madhyati Stuti Rajasa, if we are too much attached to all this household life, we will mostly get the human birth again, and you start your story again about this. You will again start to doing the same thing what we've been doing. So I was thinking about this today that I was going to one another outfit before, like spiritual advancement, where I was studying very seriously, and in that the leader was explaining that if you he says that this what we are doing right now, all these animals and even the birds are doing the same thing. They are feeding their children, they are doing this, they are getting their children married. So the birds and animals are doing the similar thing too. So what is the difference? He was saying. And it stuck to me that, yeah, what is the difference? My father did the same thing, his father did the same thing, so where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do now? Then because then the Shastra, the scriptures are saying something very different. That I should not be attached to the household life. I should be get out of there. Get out means that you don't leave your house and go somewhere. Get out means the activity you should turn, change. Same material activities which you are doing, you make spiritual activity. Hmm? Like you try so hard, right, to make your children spiritual, Krishna conscious. You try, you know. It has been said that we try so much, right? Our try. If it doesn't work, you go further, the other children or other people you do it. But your try should be there because you also want to keep yourself in the same activity, right? So if you keep on trying that activity, then that's what it's going to happen, right? So I think that that's what we should do. That we should try to turn all our activity to spiritual rather than material. Yadnanath karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. Krishna says in chapter 3 that until and unless you offer everything to me or all activities in my consciousness, in Krishna consciousness, you are going to be bound for sure. You are guaranteed to be bound. So that's why we have to offer everything and turn all our activity in the Krishna consciousness, right? So here we go again. So here it says, however, if one prefers to remain in the dark well of household life because of uncontrolled senses, he becomes increasingly engaged by the rope of affection for his wife, children, servants, house, money, and so on. Such a person cannot attain liberation from material bondage. Therefore, children should be taught from the very beginning of life to be first-class brahmacharis. Then it will be possible for them to give up household life in the future. If we are not trained, and I think that's why it's very difficult for us to to quit the household life or go gradually away from household life because we are not being trained. To return home back to Godhead, one must be completely free from material attachment. See, until unless Krishna also says that in Bhagavad Gita, before that, the sloka that says that I have to be detached of everything, then only I can. If I have an attachment here, you won't have an attachment for spiritual world, because our journey, this whole scripture, the whole devotional service, we have only one goal, right? To go back to the spiritual world. Why? Because then there's no more miseries of janma mrityu jara, birth, old age, disease, and death. We will be relieved of. That's the reason we are trying. That's the reason. This is a trick being shown by our acharyas to us that if you do this, then you don't have to come back. So that's what we are trying to. So if we want to do that, then we have to. we simply has to. To be detached, or we have to practice how I can be detached. So that's why they say. I always tell people that you should donate. You should give something to the temple. You should give something to the devotees, because that's also detachment. You're cleaning up. You're not keeping everything for yourself. You are giving some out. You're opening your heart, and that's what I think we should do. And that gives you also a peace. Okay, to return home back to Godhead, one must be completely free from material attachment. Therefore, Bhakti Yoga means Vairagya Vidya. So when we come to this temple and when we get involved into ISKCON, that is nothing but Bhakti Yoga, completely Bhakti Yoga. We've been taught Bhakti Yoga. And you know all that there are three different yogas, right? Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and a Bhakti Yoga. And Bhagavad Gita also we are taught that it has been divided into three: Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga. So yoga means to link, right? So these are the three main branches by which we can attach to Krishna. You see, and we are taking the Bhakti Yoga because the Bhakti Yoga taught us by Srila Prabhupada is considered the elevator directly going rather than taking the steps. You see, you can go to the 10th floor directly because you are taking elevators. You are getting rid of all these steps. You don't have to go steps. Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, all these things. Steps, yoga ladder steps, you don't have to. Directly. That's why this Bhakti Yoga is. Bhakti Yoga means it's nothing but Krishna consciousness. Directly, you are attaching to Krishna. Hmm? So that's why. So here what happens when you are looking at the next book, okay? It says, therefore, Bhakti Yoga means Vairagya Vidya. Means Vairagya Vidya means you become detached to everything. Huh? The art that can help one develop a distaste for material enjoyment. And here it says, Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janayati Asu Vairagyam Nanam Cha Yat Ahaitukam. What a beautifully said in this sloka. It says that as soon as you are in Bhakti Yoga, then this knowledge, okay, and this detachment comes automatic. It's proud from your heart automatically. As soon as you are involved into it, everything becomes distasteful to you. As I don't want to do this. I don't want a big car. I don't want a big house. What am I doing to? Let me get involved into the bhakti. Let me get involved into the devotional service of Krishna. That's what you will do. A lot of people I have seen here, they come to the temple and then they say, oh, how can I serve? What can I do? I have one devotee here. Prabhuji said that next week I'm a vacation 1 week. I want to come and work here completely for this service. Look at this. That's detachment. That's renunciation. You can go somewhere and work part time and make $50, $100, right? But no, he said, no, I want to work here. This is what happens to you. This is where Bhakti Yoga starts in your heart. Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prajite Janayati Asu immediately. It says Janayati means it sprouts immediately. Janayati Asu Vairagyam means the detachment and Nanam cha yad ahaitukam. By rendering devotional service unto personality of God and Sri Krishna, one immediately requires causeless knowledge and acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world. See? If one engages in devotional service from the beginning of life, they easily attain Vairagya Vidya or Asakti detachment and becomes Jitendriya. So we just said a word ajitendriya, right? That means uncontrollable. Jitendriya means control. You know, the controller of the senses. One who perfectly engaged in devotional service. Here it says controller of the senses. Who is the controller of the senses? Lord Krishna, right? Rusikena Rusikesa Bhakti Ruchyate. It's a Rushikesh, means controller of the senses. And Rusikes means by the senses. You serve Krishna, that is called Bhakti. That's the definition of Bhakti. Hmm? Unless one is master of the senses, he should not accept the renounced order of life, sannyas. A strong inclination for sense enjoyment is the cause of material body. Without full knowledge, one cannot be unattached to material enjoyment. But as long as one is not in that position, one is not fit to return home back to God. So I think it's a wonderfully said by Srila Prabhupada that until and unless we are in the position of detachment, there is no way for us to go back to Godhead. So it says you can until unless you are a controller of all your senses, master of the senses, master of the senses is Krishna, Rusikes, and we are only the servant of Krishna, and if we can serve with all our senses or indriya, with our eyes, with our nose, with our ears, if we can serve Krishna, then we become eligible to go back to God. And that's all I have to say. Hare Krishna. Any question or comment? Yes, Prabhu. Yes.
I think this idea of attachment from household life was very shocking to hear it the first time. It's not something that I was trained to do.
Yes.
I guess the more you hear, the more it makes sense. Maybe some people will just reject it completely when they hit this.
Correct. Initially.
But it's crazy. But I think we have to let it sink in. Then it'll make more sense over time.
Yeah.
Can't just reject
I see that, also that once you come here and once you associate with other people, then you see things, right? Then you said, okay, this must be good, right? First thing. And then you come more here. And then you come more here. Now, you cannot detach yourself by just rejecting things. Like you said, okay, from today onwards, I'm not going to do this thing. That's not going to happen, you see. So what happens is you have to attach to some of the activity and then you automatically detach from that, right? So that's what happens, I think. If you attach more to the temple activity, then you think, okay, well, I shouldn't be drinking because I'm doing this very auspicious work here, right? Then your mind started training, you are training your mind, and when it says, yeah, I shouldn't be drinking. So then you said, okay, yeah, let's think, I think I shouldn't be, right? Then because you are attaching to this activity here, that also there. Second thing is that when you come here and then when you hear also, then Krishna always helps because you have a desire. You see, when you have a desire, he fulfills it. He knows, Iswara Sarva Bhaktaram Riddhesya. He is staying in your heart. Prabhupada also, I was reading one article today and he says that Krishna exactly knows what you're thinking, what you want to do. He is in your heart. He quoted the saints, you know. So I think maybe we can fool other people, but you cannot fool Krishna. So we have to come with the purity. Then we have to, when you do this thing, you have to come with the purity. Otherwise, you become fanatic. Isn't it? You just going to do all these things. Haphazardly, you're going to show everybody and all this stuff. But if you want real stuff, then you got to do it from the heart. And the attachment automatically, it doesn't say that here, it's not. It says that once you get engaged, this thing sprouts from inside. It's going to help you. Even knowledge. Knowledge doesn't have to be like, you don't have to read and remember and stuff. It automatically comes a lot of the time. You know about Prabhupada says, right? When disciple asked, Prabhupada was reading Srimad Bhagavatam again, right? So disciple asked, Prabhupada, you wrote this, why should we read it? He said, I don't think I wrote this. I cannot believe it. It's not my ability to write this. He says that, You can see Srila Prabhupada, he was a householder, he just started when he was like when 55 years old, he went to Allahabad, studied for 10 to 14 years in there, and started all these things when 65. If you will, I was just talking to somebody last week, that if you listen to Prabhupada's lectures, in the beginning when he just first came to America, you will hear all these children, running around, he's still giving classes, they're making so much noise. And Prabhupada get mad and said, get out of here. No, he said, don't make noise, don't make noise. Don't you see I'm giving a class? Like from that, And if you see Prabhupada's when he's 77 or 70, 1975, 70, very strong. Like really effect if you listen to it. I have listened so many lectures of Srila Prabhupada. From the beginning till the end. So much. I was very fortunate that when I used to work, we were allowed to listen. So all I was listening was Srila Prabhupada. And at that time, I was thinking that Prabhupada just seems very simple guy. Like, some guy just came from, got off the plane. Now he's speaking a very broken English kind of, not broken, but I think so much actions, with that, and nobody can even understand Prabhupada. I felt like it, inside me. But then at the end, he's so strong, and you will hear it and there's an effect on it. And there are some, there was one, I just wanted to quote real quickly that when they were building Mumbai temple, they have so much hardship, right, during that time. So Prabhupada was walking on the beach and there were 4 doctors that come and meet Prabhupada. Like in the morning, they walk with the disciple and Prabhupada also goes. And there is one doctor, it's Dr. Patel. The Prabhupada used to address him, Dr. Patel, how are you today? So that's how he used to address. And there are so many lectures of him. And he was a staunch Swaminarayan. He was very, very big Swaminarayan. And he was a big doctor in Mumbai. There are other friends. And they used to come to learn Bhagavad Gita from Srila Prabhupada in the morning. Every time, wow, Prabhupada, this slok to is going to explain to us, right? So he initially was very, very like, he say, oh, what is this, this Maharaj, it's okay. Like that way he took it. And at the end, he really converted himself and he wrote an article that nobody in this world can explain Srila Prabhupada like this. There are about couple of, not 100 lectures of him walking with Srila Prabhupada every morning, when they were building. So from there also you can see that how effective Srila Prabhupada is and what Srila Prabhupada was and how he guided all of his disciples. So it's very, very nice, because you are under the shelter of Srila Prabhupada. And I think once you come under his shelter, he take care of you. And I'm telling you that. And it's a fact, And so we want to be attached to this Bhakti Yoga. We want to come here. Don't decide not to come. Just come here. Whatever you can take it, whatever you can listen from this Srimad Bhagavatam, it will always help. It will change. It will change. Look at this Prabhuji. He used to come at the Krishna Lodge before, Narvapu Prabhu. Right? And then once in a while I used to see him. Once in a while. He comes here with his two boys, and he has like a big cowboy kind of shoes, and then he sits and he plays harmonium back that time. I remember this. I picture him, and then he'll play, and then he'll play Mridanga at that time. Then he didn't show up for a while. I was wondering about it. Where is that devotee I used to see him, and he didn't come. But now he regularly comes. Every Saturday, Sunday he's here. He's so attached. He must like it. Krishna. Huh? Yeah, I know. And then all these things, fixing our microphone, he just got this new thing here, and he fixed our internet, and he just wanted to involve into it. Actually, he has a big background behind him that he has run the temple in Hawaii for 3 years. Yeah. So restaurant, temple, and its service is the same. You remember, Prabhupada said that. Any service you can take, they are all equal. Whether you run a restaurant or whether you run a temple or Vikrami Prabhu is doing, this DT Seva. But it's just all on the same platform. Don't let yourself fool about it that I do a better job than the other. No, we all do the same. We are on the equal platform, all of us. Even if you do Kirtan, it's the same. Our service is the same. Because of me and mine, all these things, we feel this way that I do a little bit better than you. That's why we feel very smart. We are all the same. Anyway, thank you very much. I was supposed to go at 7, but it's 7:30 now. Thank you, everyone. Let's go for prasadam. Nice one.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
There's no.
No, right? From there.
Sometimes I would it's
Oh.
I sort of think that
Oh, so we can turn from that.
come on. But so much better, right?
Yeah.
You can hear
But I think that yeah, I went to listen to him when he was singing, but that is not what he said. Maybe from there. That's what.
the other one was so much deep.
Yeah.
You can hear
Hare Krishna.